Hello everyone, this is Bruna and thank you so much for clicking. In this video, we're going to talk about everything about international online business meetings. So we're going to talk about how to plan a best time for your meeting, how to schedule your meeting, how to prepare for your meeting, what words you're going to be used, how to make sure that your communication runs smoothly and there aren't any miscommunications, and what to do right after the meeting as a follow-up. So if you have or if you're planning to have a virtual meeting pretty soon, stay tuned because this video is for you. If you're interested specifically in online job interviews or in job interviews in general, I'm gonna link 2 videos that I have here on the channel and you can check them out. First thing that you want to do is make sure that you're setting up the meeting in a convenient time for everyone. When you're dealing with people in different time zones, this is not always that easy. You might be scheduling a meeting in their lunch break or at 7 a.m. or at 10 p.m. These are just times that will not work, and it makes so much sense to propose a time in the first place that is convenient, that will work for everyone, and then you're avoiding having a lot of back and forth to try to find the best time for everyone. Here's a website that I recommend you to visit. So let's open up our browser and go to timeanddate.com. Click on time zones and then international meeting planner. You can add here what are the cities in which the participants in this meeting are located and look at exactly what time it is going to be in each place and find the most convenient time. So let's look at an example. So the first thing that I'm going to enter right here is the date that I want my meeting to be. So let's say the meeting is going to be on June 10th of this year. One person is located in Toronto, the other person is located in San Francisco, and the third person is located in Mumbai. Click on Show Timetable, and we'll be able to see right here exactly what time it will be in each of these 3 cities and what can work and what doesn't work for each one of them. So for example, when it's 3 p.m. in Toronto, it's noon in San Francisco, but it's midnight in Mumbai. So this is not a good time for us. If we scroll down here, do you think we can find a time that works for everyone? You can see here that there is no time slot in which we have all green. So there is no time slot that is perfect for everyone, but there is a few here that are green and yellow. So for example, 10 a.m. in Toronto, 7 a.m. San Francisco, 7:30 p.m. Mumbai might be a good option. It's very early for the person in San Francisco and kind of late for the one in Mumbai, but it might be the closest that we can get. And the great thing about this website too is if I'm planning a meeting that's going to happen in the future, it's already taken into account any changes that we might have due to daylight savings or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about it as well. So for an example like this one that is very challenging and people are going to have to accommodate in order for all 3 to be in the meeting, this is a great tool to use before sending out the invite, because then you can check, hey, person in San Francisco, would you be able to wake up a bit earlier one day so that we can have this meeting, all 3 of us? Or hey, person in Mumbai, would you be able to work a little bit later this day so that we can all be in this meeting? So take advantage of this website, it is great for that. And there are many other tabs right there that you can also explore and that are just as good. And then once you have settled on a time, send the invite from your Gmail account, for example, and you don't have to worry about the time zones because it will already send the invite in the specific time zone that each person is located at. Now that we have the time set for our online meeting, the next step is to find out what is the tool that we're going to use for the video call. You can use Skype, you can use Zoom, you can use Google Hangouts, you can use Teams. There are so many tools that you can use. So right here, I'm going to quickly show you how to set up the meeting and how to send the invite for a Zoom call and for a Google Hangouts. So to schedule a Zoom call, let's just go to zoom.us. And then we can click at host a meeting. I'm gonna put with video on, and then right here you can enter your login details if you already have it, or you can sign in. I'm gonna sign in here with my Google account. Now that I'm here, I simply go to schedule a new meeting. I can create the title of the meeting right here. Let's say the title is a follow-up call. I can write the description right here, and then here on date, I'm going to add June 10th, and in my time zone in Toronto, it was 10 a.m. I believe. And then one limitation that Zoom has is If you're going with the free account and you have 3 or more participants, there's a time limit of 40 minutes, so watch out for that. And then down here, it's going to automatically give you the time zone that you're located at. There are a few security concerns related to Zoom lately, so you might want to create a password for your meeting. So you can create it right here. And then I want to be able to have my video on, and I want the participants to be able to have their video on. The audio, I also don't care which way they're getting their audio from, so I'm just gonna keep both. If you're having a meeting with a lot of people, you might want to check this box that says mute participants upon entry, because if you're having people coming in late, for example, and they need to manually mute themselves, this can cause a lot of distractions and disturb the meeting that is already ongoing. So this might be something that you look into. I'm going to click enable waiting room. What this means is I'm going to be the host. If the other participants join in before me, they'll just see a message that says to wait for the host to start the meeting, and then once I join in, I'm going to start the meeting. And then if I want to record the meeting automatically, I can check that. And then I'm going to save it. Now that I have the meeting, I can just click here to add it to whichever calendar that I have, or I can simply copy the invitation and send this to people via email. This is all the information they need. So this is the topic, here's the date, here's the URL that they have to join. If they need the password, it's right there. So I can just copy all of that and they'll have all the information they need. Let's say you want to start the meeting. So you go to start the meeting right here, and this is what you're going to be seeing. I can mute myself, so if I click right here, no one's going to be able to see me. If I click right here, I'm stopping my video. Right here, I can invite other people to also join in, so I can select here what their email is, or I can also copy the URL, copy the invitation of the meeting and send them that directly. Right here, I can see what other people are in the call, so right now it's just me. If I have other people right here, I'm going to be able to mute them all. So for example, if there's someone that is not very tech savvy or has a lot of background noise and I just want them to be mute for a little bit, I can mute them right here. And I can also unmute all from here. If I want to share my screen, I can click right here for that. Here's the chat where everyone can talk by typing. If you want to send a private message for someone in the chat, you can also click right here, and then you're chatting with a specific person or only the host. Let's close this down. If I did not set up previously that I want the meeting to be recorded, I can click right here to record it, and just like that, it shows up right here that it is recording. So that's how you know. If I want to send a cute reaction, I can do that, and it shows up right here. And this is it. Once you're done with the meeting, just click on and meeting right there. And then you can either leave the meeting and everyone else is going to stay there and can leave on their own, or you end the meeting for everyone. Because you're the host, you're able to do that. And right here we can see that the recording that I created is saving to Zoom. And I can click here and decide where I want it to be. And there we go. This is the MP4 right here for the recording that I can refer back to when I need to. Now let's quickly do the same thing for Google Hangouts. So for that, you want to go to hangouts.google.com. It's probably going to already pick up your Google account and your previous conversations. To start a video call, you can simply click here on video call, allow it to use your camera, and right here you can enter someone's email address, whoever you want to invite, or you can just copy here the link and paste it to this person so they have the link to join this call with you, and then you click on invite. And then once you are here in this call, you also have a chat similar to what you have in Zoom. You can also mute yourself, unmute, you can also disable your camera and enable your camera again. And right here you can share your screen as well, just like in Zoom. And right here is another place where you can invite other people to join in. To end the call, click right here and you just left that meeting. So that was pretty simple as well, right? So okay, you have scheduled the meeting, you have sent them the link to join in. Now we're going to talk about a few other things that I believe are so important when you're having international meetings and meetings with people from other cultures that speak other languages. You're probably going to be preparing beforehand for the meeting, right? You're going to have an agenda, you know the topics that you want to talk about. But if this is an international meeting, you might want to spend a little bit of extra time really planning your words and how you're going to communicate your message. When you're talking to people that don't have English as their native language, you might want to choose easier and simpler words so that you can ensure that your meeting goes without any miscommunications. Another thing that is so nice and will be so appreciated if you do it is try to use a salutation or try to greet the other person using languages in their mother tongue. So let's say you're talking to someone in Germany, you might want to say Guten Tag, or you're talking to someone that speaks French and you might want to say Bonjour. Or if you're talking to someone that you have no idea, nothing about their language, just Google beforehand. How do you say hello? How do you say good morning? And then you can even use Google to try to get the best pronunciation and you're not just slaughtering their language. Even if you're not saying it exactly the right way, I still highly advise you to do that. People feel so great in knowing that you took time in advance to look up, to research, how do you say this in their language. They feel really valued and they feel that their culture and their language is valued. So it's a very welcoming thing for you to do in an international meeting. And then going back to what I said before, try to speak in a very easy and simple way. Do not use complicated technical terms. Try to use very common and straightforward words. And in addition to that, speak slower. This is valid not only to make sure you're understood because of any language barriers, but also just because it's an online meeting. In online meetings, odds are that information is going to be a bit delayed. There's going to be a little gap. And in addition to that, sometimes we may have a little bit of internet issues and the video might freeze a little bit, the audio might fail for a little bit. So if you're talking really slowly and using very simple words, this helps a lot so that people can really follow what you're saying, and if there's any glitch that happens, you can still understand what is happening. And I have an example to give you of what might happen when people are not aware of the lags and delays that may happen. In my job, I do a lot of international calls, and there's always a little bit of lag for the information to get to the other side. And sometimes that lag can get to 1 to 2 seconds, which can be a pretty big inconvenience in the conversation. So I've had cases when I called someone, they picked up, they said, "Hello," and then I answered, "Hello, this is Bruna calling," and whatever I'm going to say. But because of this delay, this person that picked up the phone said, "Hello," and then went 1 to 2 seconds without hearing back. And then they go, "Hello?" again, but I have already answered. So there's this odd and kind of awkward beginning that can happen sometimes. And then when that happens, I usually have to say, "Hi, it seems that we have a little bit of lag. Sorry about that." And then continue saying what I'm saying. But then at least right now, they're aware of that. And then they know that we can have a conversation, but they're probably gonna have to wait a little bit to get an answer from me just because of this delay. Next tip right here for international meetings is to always ask for clarification or for confirmation of any information that you receive. Really make sure that everyone is on the same page, that everyone is understanding each other clearly. And like I said before, this can be caused by different types of barriers. It can be a language barrier, it can be the Wi-Fi, it could be a lot of different things. So you really want to make sure that people understand what you're saying and that you understand what they're saying. So if you're in a little bit of doubt, you can say, "Let me just stop here and let's see if I understand what you're saying. So what you mean is," and then rephrase what they're saying. Or if you're saying something and you want to make sure they understand, you can just ask, "Do you understand? Do you have any questions? So do you know what we're going to do?" And then try to have them rephrase the message or just give you confirmation that yes, they do understand. And then coming from this topic, it's also important to know the different cultural behaviors that people might have depending on where they're from. For example, people in India might tell you yes, that they do understand you, even if they don't, just because culturally people don't tend to say no to things there. They tend to say yes. So this is something that you can be aware of. And then instead of just asking them, "Do you understand?" you might want to ask them to rephrase what you just said so that you can really be sure that they understand that. And then talking about culture, this can vary so much. In certain cultures, small talk is very acceptable and kind of expected in the beginning of a meeting. In other cultures, they're very direct and not personal at all. So if you think that there's room for you to learn more about the culture that you're going to be talking to, do it. Do some research and I can guarantee you it will pay off. A final tip here on culture is for you to be the person that makes an effort to adapt to the other person's culture. So for example, in North America and Western Europe, we're very direct and we're very business oriented. But let's say you're having a meeting with someone in China and you know that for them it takes a long time to build trust, and you know that personal relationships are also a part of business relationships. So you want to be the one to adapt to that. If you're lucky enough, the other person might also be thinking this way and they might meet you halfway with this difference in culture. But even if they don't, if you adapt to their culture, you're making sure that they're feeling comfortable and you're increasing your chances of having a pleasant meeting, of getting what you want from that meeting. And the last and final thing that you need to do after you have your meeting is to send an email with a summary of everything that was talked about. This will ensure that everyone is on the same page, and then you can ask if anyone has any questions, if they have anything to add, if they need clarification. This way you're doing everything you can to avoid any miscommunications before the meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting. So this is it. Thank you so much for watching the video until the end. I hope you found it valuable, and if you have any other tips that you want to add, please write it down in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in learning more about business writing and professional communications, check out the video description below and I'll be linking some resources. Thank you once again, and until next time.